What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about my 2017 Ford Fiesta ST. This is going to be kind of a technical overview about the mods that I've done and everything leading up to getting a big turbo and all that. So we're just going to jump right into it. First thing that I highly recommend on any sort of direct injected gasoline engine is get an oil catch can. Now what this does is it comes off of here, off of your crankcase, and it basically is in line with the crankcase. Normally this line would just go straight right here and come across and then dump right into your intake. With direct injected engines, the problem that you have with that is all the crap that comes along through your crankcase, which is a lot of gasoline vapors, oil vapors, and just a bunch of stuff. You don't want that accumulating on your intake valves. And to show you exactly what's coming out of there, this is 700 miles or so of the fluid that has accumulated in there. I normally change this out about every oil change, but I mean it's kind of nasty, and all that crap right there is getting sent onto your intake valves. If you had a port injected engine, no big deal, because the fuel would be on the outside of your intake valves mixing with the air before it even goes into your engine. Direct injected engine, the fuel is going directly into your cylinder. Now these are the stock injectors. I mean, you see how much carbon's on those? These injectors have 36,000 miles on them, and they're already pretty plugged up with them. And I've put high flow injectors in, so I'm just holding on to these. But every single one of them is just covered in carbon. So highly recommend getting a catch can. This catch can, I got it from Mishimoto. I got it for like $200. I was looking on their website today, and it's normally $285. You can get it on sale for like $215. I think I bought mine from like CJ Pony Parts for, it was like $202. So, and it came with free shipping and everything. Highly recommend that. Even if you're not going to modify your car at all, get an oil catch can for a direct injected engine. It will save your valves from getting absolutely destroyed by all that fluid and junk that goes through there, and you won't have to worry about a bunch of carbon buildup. Next thing I want to talk about, I have the Boomba Racing short throw shifter kit, and it is the full kit. So it comes with the actual shifting lever, and the transmission adapter as well, and it's also got aluminum bushings for inside here where it mounts down to the floor, and bushings where the transmission's at. And as you can see, the throw is like nothing. So, I mean, that's first gear, into neutral, first to second. So, I mean, it reduces the throw by a ridiculous amount. I think it's like 40-something%, which sounds about right, because the throw from first to second is about as long, and you guys should know, it's about as long as your throw from neutral to first. So, I highly recommend getting that. I spent like $350 on it, and I bought that from Boomba Racing. Yeah, it was $350. The best thing about it is having those bushings in there is it stiffens everything up, so it doesn't feel as sloppy on the shift lever. So I highly recommend getting one of those, or something along the lines of that. And it's completely adjustable. You can adjust the bracket that's down there on the transmission. Probably not going to be able to see it. A little bit. It's right in there. There's like an adjustment on there, and then there's two adjustments on the actual lever itself. And I have it set to the shortest throw possible. So it's nice and tight. It definitely improves shift feel altogether. The next thing that I did was I went to the Cobb Stage 3 kit, and what that includes a full cold air intake, and this is a 3-inch piping all the way down to the turbo. You can see it right there, all the way down to the turbo. And then you also got this 2.5-inch piping for the intercooler. I got the hard pipe kit, so it's 2.5-inch diameter. Comes with all the couplers that you need and everything. And then I also got the Cobb intercooler, which is 55% larger than stock. So I mean, it's retains the same dimensions other than thickness. It's like that thick. It's ridiculous. The stock one is so small, and the new one is like that big. So, and then I also got the turbo back exhaust. I'm not going to be able to see that. The nice thing about the turbo back exhaust through Cobb is they actually have welded flanges on them. Unlike some of the other brands, you know, they don't have welded flanges. MBRP, they use actual exhaust clamps, and I'm not really a fan of that. I think that, you know, and I think the difference between them is like $100, and for $100, I'd much rather have welded flanges than exhaust clamps. I work in a transmission shop. I have to pull exhausts on some vehicles, and in all honesty, exhaust clamps are a big pain in the ass, and I don't like them. But I mean, that's all up to you. And then with this kit that I got, the Cobb Stage 3 kit, I also got the access port, which is great. It's got off-the-shelf maps. You can do, it comes with flat foot shifting, launch control, 2 different types of launch control. You have a soft cut and a hard cut. And then it also has, look at my notes over here. Traction control adjustment. You can actually adjust the traction control on the Cobb access port and make it to where you have no traction control at all. I know that the traction control inside the Fiesta does mostly come off, but not entirely. So another thing that I coupled with this cold air intake from Cobb is I got a Velocitech big mouth. This thing's great. I mean, I like the way that it looks. It looks mean and nasty. But you're actually pulling air from the outside of the engine bay. So if you have a completely sealed air box and you're pulling air, cold air, you know, that's, you know, if it's middle of summer and you're looking at like 95 degrees, well, I'm here in Colorado, so like 95 degrees, you're getting that 95 degrees from the outside as opposed to the 100 and something you got inside the engine bay. It's highly beneficial. You do have to cut around the radiator shroud a little bit, but it's really not that bad. And then it just kind of tucks underneath this flap here. So it's a little pushed up right now. If I took a heat gun to it, I'd probably be able to remold that to where it sits a little better, but I'm not real big into that kind of stuff. So, and then moving on, we've got, the Cobb Stage 3 kit. I spent, after taxes and everything, it was like $3,100, like $3,120 or something like that for that whole kit. Reason why I went with Cobb's whole kit instead of doing mismatched parts and everything is because I just, you know, I don't like having to like hunt down and make sure things will work with other things and all that. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go Cobb. It's a full kit, comes with everything you need. It also comes with a rear motor mount. So if you don't have one of those, or if you haven't bought one of those already, you know, it comes in the kit as well. It's definitely a good purchase. It builds up the car, and it honestly, like, it woke the car up, you know. It didn't make it like insanely faster, because being on the stock turbo, anything above 5,000 RPM, even with the Stage 3 kit, it, you know, didn't pull all that much. Anything above 5,000 RPM. But everything leading up to that 5,000 RPM, this thing, like, it ripped with that. And it introduced torque steer into the car, which I was like, oh, wow, torque steer already? I haven't even done anything with the turbo yet. So, yeah, I recommend, you know, doing something like that. This kit, I thought it wasn't bad with everything in it. I mean, everything was, like, nice and quality. Of course, I can really only show you the intake right now, because that's what's there. But the intercooler, full aluminum all the way through and through. The ends where the charge pipes go in, full aluminum. It comes with all your couplers. It comes with all your worm gear clamps and T-clamps and everything you need. I mean, this is one of the couplers that goes onto the stock turbo. That's the outlet for the intake on the stock turbo, and then that goes to your charge pipe. If that goes to show how tiny the diameter of the stock turbo is, compared to something where you need something like this for the aftermarket turbo. So, anyways, next thing, I did this. I went with a Boomba Racing rear motor mount as opposed to Cobb's rear motor mount. If you guys saw one of my videos, you've seen the rear motor mount. It's billet aluminum, and it doesn't have as much like polyurethane rubber in between the mounts and everything, which is what I basically look for. I'm like, you know what? It's a stiffer mount. I like that, you know, that race car feel. You get there's a lot more vibrations in the steering wheel and in the seat and everything. It makes you feel, you know, the car. Throwing it into turns with that mount, like you can actually feel what the tires are doing, surprisingly. It was definitely a bigger bump up than what the stock was, and it is less forgiving if you make a mistake when you're shifting. So I found that out real early on. You know, I was kind of lazy with my shifts with this car when it was completely stock, and now I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that it's shifting smooth. So that was, I looked on Boomba's website. It was $163. I bought it off of Amazon for like $150. So I don't know if it's still on Amazon or not. I bought this last year or the year prior for that mount. So the next thing that I did was I got the Boomba Racing Symposer delete. So I completely got rid of the Symposer. This is great because it will, I mean, any brand. There are people out there that, you know, have found their own like bung plugs, and they've plugged up that rubber hose for like $5. I just, Boomba Racing was doing a promotion for like 10 or 20% off, and I was like, you know what, I'll just buy from them because, you know, I like this nice shiny billet aluminum that they got. So that was $42. Like I said, I got it on sale. I think I got it for like $30. But it comes with that bung, and then it also comes with the bung for the actual Symposer tube. I haven't gotten rid of this yet because I haven't figured out how I want to get rid of it yet. But I'm also just kind of keeping it on there. Just cause, you know, you never know if you want to, you know, run everything back to stock and sell off all your parts and all that. So, but I highly recommend that. It reduces cabin noise, and it's not like these cars are loud to begin with, and it's not, they're not unpleasant, but once you go and get an exhaust, like that Symposer and the exhaust are fighting each other. And so, you know, the induction noises that you're getting off the motor and then the exhaust noises that you're getting from your actual exhaust, it's a constant back and forth battle. As soon as I got it, it was a night and day difference between the sound. Other than like the fact that people have had boost leaks off those Symposers, you know, I would just recommend getting it just for the sound. Just plug that off just for the sound. Night and day difference. So, and then the last thing I want to talk about for today is I've got BC Racing Coilovers on this. So on these, this is where they came from when I bought them. Sorry YouTube, but I mean I can get a hand in there, and I'm at the top of the wheel. So I haven't really adjusted the height all that much on these. I did it a little bit because like one corner was like 1/4 of an inch higher than another, and so I just came through and straightened everything out. These are where the rears are at. You know, they're sitting a little bit lower, but these things are great. You got 30 click adjustable dampening. So you got your little twist knob up here to adjust how hard or soft you want your rebound and dampening. And these things, they're $1,000, $1,030 for them. I highly recommend these because, I mean, even any sort of suspension modification. I thought about doing lowering springs, and lowering springs are like $400. And you don't really get any like a major performance change out of them. What you get is definitely an aesthetic look on them. You know, you get that lowered look, you get that little wheel camber right there, you know, but I was looking for something that I can, you know, adjust. I can make it, you know, stiffer or softer and all that. And I know that the lowering springs have different spring rate than the stock springs. And so, I mean, if you can really only afford the 400, you know, then you might as well do the lowering springs. You know, maybe even save up a little bit and couple them with some like Bilstein or Bilstein struts. And the struts would have a better dampening than the stock struts. These things are super chattery on concrete roads. Very uncomfortable. But, I mean, you know, that's sport-tuned suspension. So, yeah, I don't know. But these things, 1,030 for them. And they all, each corner has the adjustable dampening. And the way that I've set them up is, I think the rears are set like 12 clicks from the hardest setting, so they're more towards the middle. And then the fronts are set to 10 clicks, the rears are set at 10 clicks from hard, and then the fronts are set at like 12 clicks from hard. The reason why I staggered it like that is you want it to be a little softer up front. That will definitely reduce your understeer. And if you have it harder in the rear, when you go to do your launches, the rear is not going to squat as much, so you're going to get better traction up front. And then when you're, you know, slamming on the brakes to go into a corner, you want it softer so that it increases the contact patch up front, so that you have better control, you know, pitching it into the turn. Yeah, that's how I've set them up. I've still got to do some dialing in on them and get them, you know, perfect. I'm probably going to raise them up, because when I go for some aftermarket wheels and tires, I'm definitely going to have to raise them up, because it's just a little too close for some wheels that are going to be, you know, another inch wider. So, yeah, I'm going to have to raise those up. I'll probably do a video on me taking them apart or taking them off the car and adjusting them and, you know, seeing how that goes. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. So, I mean, that's pretty much it for performance modifications other than the turbo. I'm going to talk about the turbo and the quick spool manifold and all that. All the good stuff that's hiding back there. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that, all that stuff in a different video. I'm going to do a 1,000-mile review. Right now I'm at like 750 miles on this thing, and I've had the turbo on for about a month. This car is not daily driven, but I do drive it quite frequently. So, and then the only other thing that I really wanted to talk about is this is the only aesthetic thing that I've really put on the car. Are these badges, these ST badges. The cool thing about these badges is when Ford released these cars, they were doing the ST Octane Academy, which when you bought one of these cars brand new, which I did, I bought it, had 253 miles on it when I bought it. But if you signed up within a year after purchasing this car, you got to go to the Ford Motorsports Complex. And that's where they, you got to whip around the Ford Motorsports Complex, do their racetrack there in Fiestas and Focuses. It was such a great experience, and I feel bad for all you guys who haven't been able to do it, because it was one of the best things that I've done. It was a completely free day of racing. You know, I drove my Fiesta out to Utah, stayed the night out there, stayed 2 nights out there, probably spent, I don't know, a few $100 in total on that trip, between gas and lodging and food and all that stuff. But it was a free thing. We got to, all their Fiestas and Focuses, they had these parking brakes, hydraulic handbrakes, and that is pretty much what the lever looked like. But it was so much fun. We got to do, they had an autocross track, which I can't even remember what they were calling it, but I guess Ken Block came out and helped them design the whole thing and everything. You can find videos of that stuff on YouTube. But I mean, I still I feel bad for you guys that weren't able to do something like that, because it was such a fun experience.
So, anyways, I think that's going to do it. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything like that, please let me know. I'm pretty good at talking to people and all that. So, if there's anything else you want to know, like I said, I'm going to do that 1,000-mile review on the turbo coming up here soon, probably within the next week or two. And I'm going to talk about all the pros and the cons of that turbo. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it's going to be. So, yeah, you guys all take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next one.